Unit 4.8. Writing linear equations. Remember, a linear equation is either in standard form, right, which is standard form. It's going to have an x and a y, right? Standard form is ax plus by equals c. And slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. They're the same equation, they've just been manipulated. Most of them will start like this, but we need it to be like this if we want to use it to graph, right? Linear equations. But what if instead of giving us two ordered pairs, and we have to figure out the slope in business, what if they give us a point and the slope? Is there a formula that we can use to rearrange it to find the missing information? Of course there is. Alright, so the formula, called the point slope formula, because they give you a point and a slope, is y minus y1 is equal to slope x minus x1. Alright, don't get bogged down by the craziness of the formula. It's actually simple once you start using it. Right, you're going to plug in the point that they give you, y1 and x1. You're going to plug in the slope that they give you, m, and it's going to spit out y equals mx plus b. I know, it's completely insane. Alright, let's do it. We'll write the formula a few times so that you can get some practice with it. Alright. Let's see. Formula y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Write it as many times as you need to. Right? So, what you need to do, this is your first x, your first y, x1, y1. And this is your slope. This is your m. All you have to do is substitute this information into this formula and solve for y. Right? Because we want to end up here. We want to end up y equals mx plus b. So we have to isolate the y. Alright, so let's input the formula. So y minus, because there's a minus in the formula, y1, which is 1, is equal to m, which is 2, x minus, because there's a minus in the formula, x1, which is 4. Can you solve that? We know all the parts. We know how to distribute, right? So it's y minus 1 equals 2 times x, which is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8. We got rid of the parentheses by distributing. Now we know that we need to move the constant over here with this constant. It's a negative 1, so we're going to add 1. Now we have y equals 2x minus 7. We're done. Look, it's in the same format. Y equals mx plus b. That's all we had to do. We substituted the information into the formula, distributed, and solved for y. Isolated the y. That's it. Feel free to pause and stare at that as much as you need to. Rewind it and watch it again, and again, and again, until you get it. Alright, formula, y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x1, parentheses. If you put an open parentheses, you have to put a closed parentheses, always. Always, always, always. x1, y1, m. Substitute y minus, because it's in the formula, y1. Do I even need to write minus 0? No. going to leave it up there because I want you to see. But adding and subtracting to 0 changes nothing. Zeros are magical. Multiplying makes everything 0. Adding and subtracting them does nothing. M x minus because it's in the formula. And this one has a negative in it. X1 is negative 6. So make sure you do it so that you know that it's now a double negative. Make sure you put those parentheses so you know it's a double negative. Right? So we're going to change it. We don't need to bring down the negative 0. 2 over 3 x. Negative times a negative is a positive. All right, now we're going to distribute 2 over 3 times x is 2 over 3x. It's okay that it's a fraction. It's our slope. We want it to be a fraction. All right, 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That's it, baby. That's it. Done. Rewind it and watch it again. All right? Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. This is just like the other formulas. I'm going to expect them to show up several times on your guided notes. And I'm going to expect them to show up at least once on the mastery check, just so I know you know it. X1, Y1, M, Y minus, there's a negative in the formula, a negative in the number. So it's going to be a double negative. M, which is negative 1 times x minus x1, x minus 4. All right, a couple of things are going to have to shift here. Negative times a negative is a positive, so it's going to be y plus 3. This is just going to change when you distribute it. It's going to change all the signs. This positive x is going to become a negative x. And this negative 4 is going to become a positive 4. It changed all the signs. Now, all we have to do is get rid of that positive 3, and the y will be by itself. You notice how I lined up the like terms? Constants go with constants. Okay, just checking. Y equals negative x plus 1. That's your answer. And it's in the correct format. Y equals mx plus b. Because you followed the steps correctly, your answer is already in the right order. Alright, 7. Let's do the formula again. I feel like you need it a few more times. Y1 equals mx minus x1. At this point, it's tattooed on my brain. Most of the formulas are. First x, first y, m. Substitute. Y minus y1. Ooh, there's a lot of negatives. Be careful. Y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. So x minus x1. Like I said, lots of negatives. Keep track. Negative times a negative is a positive. X negative times a negative is a positive. Now distribute. Y plus 5 equals 1/3 x. 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Get rid of this positive 5. We're left with y equals 1/3 x minus 1. This is our slope right there. And that's our y-intercept. That's where it's going to cross the y-axis at -1. Remember, that's why we're converting it to y equals mx plus b. Again, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. You want to do this to the point where you can do it in your sleep, and that's how you know your brain really grasps the material. You're like, oh, do I have to do so many? Well, I showed you what happens if you don't have to do as many. You fail. So do it until you are 100% comfortable with it. And if you are not 100% comfortable with it after the guided notes, do more. Nobody's stopping you from doing better. Well, nobody but you. Nobody but you. x1, y1, m, y minus y1 equals m, don't lose the negative, x minus x1. Y plus 9 equals -2 over 5x. Negative times a negative is a positive. Plus 1. Subtract 9 from both sides. Y equals -2 over 5x minus 8. And because there's a negative in front of the slope, we know that when we graph it, we know that it's going to start somewhere down here at -8. And it's going to go downhill. It's going to go negative slope. We know this just by looking at that equation. We know this. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, x1 y1 m, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Be careful with your double negatives. I keep saying it and you keep ignoring me, but that's all right. -4 over 3 x plus 6 y plus 1 equals -4 over 3x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. -4 times +2 is -8. Subtract 1 from both sides. Y equals -4 over 3x minus 9. You know how to do all the steps. Slow down, put the steps in order, and follow through. You know how to do all this. You've already shown me you know how to do all this. I'm not going to write the formula this time. Let's see if we can do it without the formula. x1, y1, m. Oh, that's interesting. I just heard you thinking it. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know about zeros? What? What? Anything times 0 is 0. This is now 0. Y plus 4 equals 0. Y equals -4. So when you graph this, there's no slope. It's going to be at the -4, and it's going to be parallel to the x-axis. It's 0 slope. It's a beautiful thing. If you can understand one thing, it helps you understand another thing, which helps you understand another thing. I know. x1, y1, m. y minus y1 equals mx minus x1 y minus 1 equals negative 1 over 4 x plus 4. Technically I could have skipped a step, but you're not ready for that. When you are ready for that, feel free to skip steps, but you still have to show your work. Because if you have I'll show you what I'm talking about when I'm finished. Y minus 1 equals negative 1/4 x. 4 over 4 is 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Add 1 to both sides. Y equals negative 1/4 x plus 0. You don't even have to put plus 0. Negative 1 and positive 1 cancel each other out. You're left with 0. Plus and minus 0 is the same thing as 0. And you can't add or subtract 0. It changes nothing. So you might as well just leave it off. If you really want to put it there, you can. But what it tells me in my brain is that when I graph it, it's going to cross the origin. That's all it tells me. So if I see an equation like this without the 0, I already know the line is going to cross the origin. Now, here's why I tell you to show your work. This problem is worth 2 points. 1 point to show your work, 1 point for the correct answer. Now, why is that important? I'll tell you why. 2 points possible for the problem, right? So, what if you have the wrong answer? You still get a point for showing your work, even if it's not perfect. Because I can see that you followed the process, you just ended up in the wrong place. I can give you a point for showing the work, and another point for the right answer. So those of you who are not even bothering to try to show your work, you're giving away half of your credit. Alright, I think that's it for this one. Yep, and that leaves you with the evens again. Good luck. Take your time. Watch the video twice, 3 times if you